what are you hearing and what are you seeing about this surge this summer?
Well, we start to see these summer surges. I mean, that's one of the things about COVID. I think that's sort of the headline here. You typically think of respiratory viruses mostly being in the fall and the winter, sort of getting a lull in the summertime. At least over the last few years now, it's sort of settled into this summer surge. So one of the ways they measure this is through wastewater surveillance, sort of getting an idea, how much virus are we simply seeing in the environment? And going back to 2022, you can see there's obviously a big winter surge back in January sort of time frame then. But then it came down, and now over the last few years, you see these summer surges. We'll still see, Kate, how this sort of settles out over time, and there might be reasons for these summer surges. We don't know what the pattern will be long term, but it could be that this virus is just adapted to warmer and more humid sort of environments. It could also be as the weather is getting warmer, there are more people actually congregating inside, and that causes the spread of the virus. Could be a combination of those things. But what we do know is if you look at the map right now, what this translates to is about 36 states where you're seeing high or moderately high levels of infection, mostly in the south, but here in Georgia, but also where you are up in New York, in California as well. So warm, humid climates or also very population-dense climates, that seems to be the factor here. We don't know still, Kate, what this will look like a few years from now, if this is going to be a continuous sort of summer and then winter sort of biphasic surge, but it's looking that way right now.
Has anything changed about what we should do when we get COVID these days?
Yes, and I think that the best way to sort of frame that is that it's probably similar to how you probably thought about flu in the past. And it's not so much time-based in terms of the guidance, in terms of what you should do, but symptom-based. So you remember you used to hear 5 days, 10 days, things like that. What it really is when you're no longer having symptoms, and what that specifically means is if you had a fever, you're off those fever-reducing medicines for at least 24 hours without a fever. Then you're pretty much clear, except after a COVID diagnosis, you should wear a mask for the next 5 days, because we know even after you're no longer symptomatic, what the data will show is you still have the possibility of spread. So that's sort of it. It's just focus on the symptoms more than anything else.